So I think I might have mentioned how he was so eager to want to date me. And I couldn't figure out why, you know? It was like, I hadn't known him that long. And we only hung out a few times. And, you know, he just wanted to keep hanging out more and more. And then he was in like such a rush to want me to be his girlfriend. And he was like, you know, it's because I like you so much and I want to be together. And I said no 3 times. And he was like, I'm just going to keep asking you. I'm going to keep asking you. At the time, I thought, it's kind of sweet, right? Like, oh, he really likes me. No, that's not why. Which is why I say the truth always comes out in the end. Always. Because as I was piecing things together, you know, like I do, I noticed something. He was always like talking shit about his son's mother, but he would still be hanging out with her. Like, she'd come over his house and hang out for hours. And I was like, if you don't like her, why is she over your house hanging out? You know, he'd always blame something like, oh, my mom invited her over. Every time. Every single time, he'd blame his mother. My mom invited her over. I didn't even want her to come over. I don't even want to be here right now. I'm like, yeah, right. You know, but back then, I believed him. I was like, oh, she's just coming over like uninvited and like, you know, ruining his day. You know, because that's what he made it sound like. And I said, well, if that's the case, I mean, just tell her, like, you don't want her to come over. I mean, you're both adults, right? I mean, have a conversation with her and be like, you know, I don't appreciate you coming over here all the time. We're not together anymore. And, you know, just because we have a son doesn't mean you need to be over here hanging out at my house. And he was like, I told her that already, and she doesn't fucking listen. I said, well, then talk to your mom about it and tell your mom, like, don't invite her over anymore. You know, and he always had an excuse. Like, my mom's not going to listen to me. I've told her 100 times. And because narcissists project, he would tell me things and I didn't realize that those were things that he was actually doing. Because he would say something like, she came over and she was drinking, so she couldn't drive home. She was too drunk to drive home. And she's supposed to sleep in the guest room, but she tried to come and sleep in my bed. And then it would be things like that. Or, oh, I was in bed and she came in my room and laid in my bed. And, you know, she was trying to touch me and kiss me. And I was like, well, tell her to get out. Like, what the fuck? But obviously now I know that wasn't the case. And that wasn't what was going on. It was, obviously he was inviting those things to happen. And I have no doubt about that. Seeing as he cheated on me with so many people during the relationship, that he has no restraint, no willpower, like no loyalty or anything inside of himself to say, well, I have a girlfriend, so I probably shouldn't be doing these things with somebody else. Seems like common sense to me. Like, I mean, if an ex-boyfriend of mine was coming over and making, like unwanted advances, I would say something about it. I would want it to stop, right? Especially if I'm in another relationship now. But you see, it was all part of his plan. He doesn't plan out very much, but when it comes to being spiteful and vindictive, he'll plan it. And he'll wait for years. So, the reason he was so dead set on having me date him and be his girlfriend was just to make her jealous. And I mean, I kind of noticed it back then, like, oh, she's jealous of us now, like, cause we're happy and she's miserable. And I was like, well, that sucks. And he was like, yeah, I love it. Like, he just loved that she was now, jealous and pissed off that he was dating somebody. But if it hadn't been for that, I doubt he would have pushed so hard to be together. And then after that, it was because he really didn't want to live at home anymore. And I was getting ready to move. So I said, well, why don't we live together then? Since, we're always hanging out, and he didn't have a car, so I'd have to drive, from Tampa to Ruskin to see him, which was a pain in the ass. And he'd always expect me to just come over. He'd be like, well, come over. And I'm like, I mean, that's kind of like, you can't just be like, oh, okay, I'll be there in 5 minutes. Like, you have to think about the time of day it is, the traffic, what time you're going to get home. If you have to work in the morning, there's like shit that he just doesn't think of. So when I suggested that we live together, he was like, yeah. He jumped all over it. Because not only did that get him out of his parents' house, but it put an extra sort of notch on top of that jealousy. And then from then on out, he just kept lying and doing what he wanted to do because I did too much for him. Because I thought he was serious. I did not realize the whole time it was just manipulation for him to get what he wanted, Like, it made his baby mama jealous. Then he got a place to live that wasn't at his parents' house. Then he got half of my scripts because he told me he wanted to stop using drugs. And he could do that if he got my scripts, although he never did. He continued doing drugs. Then he was like, oh, I want to, yeah, we should get married, like he wanted to get married. I thought he was serious. Just to throw me off from the fact that he was now talking to somebody else behind my back. So that way, when he became distant and cold and stopped coming home after work, well, I'd have a little more invested in it and then not just walk away. So that's exactly what happened. And he knew it, and that's why he did it. And in the very end, after we'd been through 2 long-term relationships behind my back for over a year each, in addition to the occasional side people that he was hooking up with, he tried yet again to tell me that he wasn't going to cheat anymore. He promised, he swears, like he hasn't even looked at anybody since Ashley, which is obviously a complete lie, just like everything else that comes out of his mouth, because he was already starting a relationship with his neighbor. Yeah. So, like the last 3 times I had gone to his house, I noticed he came walking out from the trailer across the street. And I was like, it's odd. And I'm like, who lives there? Seemed to always be coming out of there every time I come over. Well, of course, he tried to lie. And he was like, my neighbor. You know, just like, oh, I'm not like my neighbor. Like, no big deal. Forgetting to mention the fact that it's a female neighbor. Not much older than me. You know, it's like a year and something. And, yeah. Who does the same 2 drugs that he does. So, you know, obviously that's why he was over there spending all that time over there. Because, well, let's look at it. It's very convenient, right? All he's got to do is walk across the street. He loves convenience. So you got convenience. You got the same 2 drugs of choice. You got probably food, sex, a place to sleep because you don't want to sleep at your house. But, of course, still trying to manipulate and breadcrumb me like I was a complete idiot. And when I told him to fuck off because I was sick of his games and lies and bullshit and all the manipulation and all the pain and heartache that he had caused me over the last 5 years, he didn't like that. So he started coming over and just acting all out of character. I mean, coming over whenever he wanted, feeling entitled, trying to come in the house, say he wasn't going to leave, be screaming in my face, yelling and screaming. The dogs are barking. It's like just fucking chaos. And I was like, that's it. That is fucking it. I'm done. And, you know, several times he was like, I'm not fucking leaving. Stupid fucking bitch. Call the police. Okay. So I get a restraining order. And that didn't go over very well with him. Yeah, he didn't like that. So, now he's not allowed to come over. He's not allowed to text me or call me. And, well, he's forced to stay where he is because just like a month after that, he got arrested again. And, you know, I wasn't there to bail him out and help him with anything. So now he's on an ankle monitor. And then, because he's a dumbass and he missed his court date, they came to arrest him because obviously they know where you are when you have an ankle monitor on. So, because I intervened last time with his karma when he got arrested and helped him out, you know, it had to come back around and be like, no. Once I was out of the picture, it went back and got him again. And then he spent like 2 weeks or something in jail. And now he's back out on an ankle monitor. So his life is going exactly as he planned it. Not as he planned it, but the way his disgusting behaviors and actions, according to the universe, planned it.